Hello and welcome back to Game 2 between Na'Vi and, of course, the side of Ninjas in Pyjamas here at the ASUS ROG DreamLeague. And the draft has begun, Drastical. So let's get ourselves into it and see what we see. Nip getting themselves the Undying this time, the Quap again. Na'Vi, they pick up the SD, of course, for Seneca, and this time getting the Gyrocopter for her Vorse.
Yeah, the Gyro is a great answer to Undying, obviously. Even with the Rocket Barrage nerf, I still feel like that hero is top tier. Very good early game, very good mid-late, just good. Just good hero. And I think it's reflected by the fact that every single team either... He was the last hero that was banned in the first phase.
Yes, he was banned.
I couldn't remember last game who it was. It was Gyro. So there you go. Going to be seen here by Na'Vi. NIP taking out the Bounty Hunter in the first two as well.
Smart move.
Yeah, when you don't really want to deal with it, just take it out. Like, that's really all you can say. And the hero right now already contributes so much to snowballing in a patch that already has a tendency to snowball for one team. Like, what we haven't seen a game over like 30 minutes except for one in the entire week so far here at the ASUS ROG DreamLeague. So I'm kind of thinking that if you can just get the snowball potential off the table for Na'Vi, and wow, we're going to see a Shadow Demon Kunkka. That could be support Kunkka.
It could be, very well. I mean, I'd imagine it will, because I'm sure, unless they do want to put in the mid lane.
Kunkka. He does play Kunkka, but when I see Shadow Demon Kunkka together...
That's the combo.
The new X is actually, I think, better for roaming support Kunkka than it was before. Because the old X used to be, the range would go up, and also the duration of the X would go up, which means that at level 1, it was almost impossible to line it up with a torrent. You would have to get level 2.
The mana cost has been reduced to 50 at all levels, I believe?
It gets reduced a lot. Yeah. So you can actually do support Kunkka a bit more reliably. Not saying 100% that's going to be the case, but it would be cool.
It would be very, I mean, I'm not fussed where the Kunkka goes. It's always nice to see Kunkka, a hero that we don't see a lot. And as you said, works nicely with the SD, and the team fight potential pretty huge with the whole Gyro Kunkka setup. You know, the torrents, the cooldowns, the boats flying in, everything's going to be kicking off from the side of Na'Vi. And well, how are NIP responding? We saw them pick up the Leshrac on top of the Undying and the Queen of Pain, and we did see, I believe, Era play the core Leshrac yesterday, didn't we, here in the mid lane? So almost certainly what we're going to see them do again.
Yeah, I'm guessing it will be core. The Undying, not really seeing the partner hero just yet. Shadow Demon and Kunkka, they are heroes, well, Gyro as well, who have to fight around the Tombstone, but since you have Gyro, it's like the Undying already doesn't feel that great. So I'm hoping that NIP can put together some kind of lane to utilize this hero. Because unlike Na'Vi and the previous game, all art style really had to do was secure farm for his carry. That's all he had to do. Like, he didn't have to crush a lane. He just had to zone a Queen of Pain, which he did very effectively. And after that, his team carried him. So in that sense, I think his draft was great. And the draft allowed him to play more of a lax role. But here for NIP, with the team fight potential that Na'Vi have, you're going to see some team fights. And now Darkseer even being picked up in conjunction with already a Gyro and a Kunkka. A great hero against melee. So you have Ion Shell that can punish the Undying, the Abaddon, and just overall pressure lanes in general. It's a very good mech carrier, can build into Guardian Greaves a little bit later on. You're going to have Coco Rum, which is great damage reduction during a team fight. If it is core Lesh, the thing about Leshrac is his damage output is nuts if he can stay alive. But if you have a boat buff on you, your team can actually withstand that damage long enough to maybe be able to take him down, where normally if you don't have BKBs, you kind of just melt. So there is good team fight potential here from Na'Vi.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at the draft of Na'Vi now, I wouldn't be surprised if they go for a level 1 and smoke maybe, but very early aggression, because Darkseer Gyrocopter, the old little surge into Rocket Barrage, that's a kill.
Yeah, it's very potent. I mean, just getting a disruption onto a hero can be a kill with a Gyrocopter as well. And I think that's a lot of the reason why they decided to pick Abaddon. Just having the Aphotic Shield to remove a Kunkka Torrent, or if you get disrupted, being able to put it on after you come out to make sure that you don't just instantly explode. And it kind of lends itself more to it being a Lesh core as well, because the shield functions so well with Lesh, because you want to be in the middle of the fight, and that way the Aphotic Shield deals its damage. You give the bonus survivability to the Lesh, and he's also dealing damage on his own terms. So both these teams, very, very good fighting potential.
Now for the final ban from the side of Na'Vi, if we're expecting indeed the core Leshrac with the support of Aden and Undying. Ninjas in Pyjamas, they do still need someone, which I'd imagine to be in the... Because they did put the Leshrac mid, didn't they, yesterday?
Yes.
It was, so they still need their safe laner, really, to turn them up with Undying and Abaddon.
Well, it could be Lesh safe lane.
Yeah, they could swap it, yeah.
And then put the Undying off lane with one and then have Queen mid.
Okay.
Like, they could also do that.
Yeah.
It just depends on Na'Vi. If it's going to be position 1 Gyro and offlane Darkseer. Is Kunkka actually going to be mid, or is it going to be dual roam support?
I mean, when they picked the Kunkka, they did ban out heroes like the Storm Spirit. They actually banned out the Storm themselves, so
yeah,
a hero that, I mean, is that someone you ban out if you were picking Kunkka for the mid lane, do you feel?
Well, Storm is hard to hold down for their team in general. Like, they only have one hero with a disable, so taking it out is still very strong. And IP going to go with the last pick, Clockwork. It can be very good against teams with gyro, and any hero with really no escape mechanism like Clockwork's going to be great. You go in, you get a good cog off, and you just deal damage with Battery Assault by a Blade Mail against gyro. If he doesn't happen to have BKB, you can very, very easily get solo kills. So there are a couple of heroes that he should be able to punish on the lineup of Na'Vi. But last pick, Viper. Okay, so it is support Kunkka.
Okay, and it's going to be Dendi on the Viper, and of course Vorst on his position 1 Gyrocopter. And with Funnick on the Darkseer, obviously we saw last game Funnick being put in the solo safe lane and them running aggressive. There's very much the potential for SD Kunkka and Gyro to go aggressive, isn't there?
Yeah, that lane's terrifying actually. If you get disrupted, you need a Nephotic Shield or you're just dead. There's nothing else that you can do. Now, I'm curious, would they actually go aggressive though? Because here's the thing. They're not going to be very good at stopping the Leshrac from farming if they go aggro, because you have Undying and you have Abaddon. So these two heroes are great at being able to soak damage. They can also heal. So committing and trying to go for a kill is very difficult, even with that combo. I think you would be much better served just trying to roam and gank. Like, even going for Queen of Pain and getting a disrupt into a couple of auto attacks and forcing him back, just helping Dendi win his lane maybe a bit harder, or just going with the stack inside of the woods. Like, you can do torrent stacking, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you can stack for, you know, however many camps. And then you can just have Havos get level 6, call down on the large camp, and just accumulate mass amounts of money. Yeah, because the one weakness of Nip's lineup, they don't roam. They sit in their lanes. Like, all these heroes do not move around the map. So Na'Vi can play as greedy as they like. Like, they don't have to go aggressive.
And, there we go. There's the stat for Viper. Yeah. Classic script there, showing us the stats for techies. But now.
Yeah, Kappa.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Back to techies there. Yeah, he's proud of himself. He's like,
Maelstrom? That can't be right. Maybe it was just only a scene.
You've never played Techies Maelstrom?
I must be missing out, apparently.
You've not reached the, you've not got to the point in your MMR career where it's unlocked, I'm afraid.
Yeah, maybe soon.
Anyway, here we go. Second game. We're seeing some fun stuff come out from the side of Na'Vi, NIP as well. They're looking for the aggression. They've got that Clockwork, Queen of Pain, dual solo lane combination, which we see picked up a lot of the times. A lot of the times when we see Clock, it's normally when there's a hero like the Queen of Pain, because they want to go aggressive as soon as those heroes hit level 6, and they want to disrupt the action that the other side might have found in the early game. And, well, let's get ourselves in and familiarized with both of the sides. On the side of NIP, we're going to have Hanskin on the Undying, Sealkid on his Abaddon, and Error on the Leshrac. And for the time being, positioning themselves around the aggressive tri-lane. Jonas and Fan will be on that solo lane Clock, and that will, of course, leave Limp on his Queen of Pain again. And, well, Andy, what are we seeing from Na'Vi? And anything becoming clear in terms of lanes here?
Well, I think defensive lanes for Na'Vi for sure, but Sanako is going to be handling Kunkka here. Art Style playing the Shadow Demon, Havos. He's going to be on Gyrocopter. Seeing a Decay cast here from Nip. I don't think they want to fight this at level 1. Na'Vi's level 1 fight is not that great.
Side of NIP positioning themselves so they're forcing Na'Vi away from this bottom rim, but as you said, seem to be a little bit scared. Denti's already backing off to the mid lane to start to get the block off, and Funnick will indeed be on that top lane. Did manage to get himself that bounty win as well here, Funnick, to start him off. And he's going to be in that solo lane against Limp on the safe lane, Queen of Pain, and the side of NIP actually opting to avoid Clock from the Darkseer lane and putting him in the mid up against the Viper.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to put Queen against the Viper because the Queen would lose anyway. And the Clock would probably lose against the Darkseer as well. So the best thing to do is to make sure that your Queen doesn't just auto-lose the lane and have a decent time and be able to get some farm so you can have an impact during the mid game. And also, that also means that when he TPs around and has level 6, his ganks will be that much more effective. And I think that's also why Nip have opted to go aggressive, because we know like this lane is never going to rotate. So if they had gone defensive, disruption, here we go.
Indeed, there's going to be the torrent to follow up as well, but looks like they don't want to commit here for that one, as the Aphotic Shield will remove and the torrent debuff, and Hanskin goes back to punching. I mean, looking at this tri-lane situation,
those decays.
Is there a clear winner here? As you were just saying, that NIP with the Undying I mean, any trial lane with it, surely they come out on top.
Well, it's going to be all about who gets the better commitment.
Okay.
Like, if you go in and fight, like right now, Havost, he was so decay
Classic
stacked.
Havost.
He had so many decays on. Like, look at this Undying. He has almost 1,000 HP at level 1. This is the one thing about tri-lane versus tri-lane, is that if you are not used to playing against Undying, you absolutely cannot stack on top of each other. Because every single decay that he lands is a bonus 4 strength, which doesn't sound like a huge amount, but at level 1, he almost had double his starting health. And Havost had like no HP because he was decayed 3 times.
So arguably not the best start for Na'Vi in that tri-lane, and it's going to be hard now that they've given the Undying that leg up. He'll be able to continue his control of this lane with the tri-lane. But as you said, the heroes of Na'Vi, with the Kunkka and the Shadow Demon, they can look to be active and roam around the map. But at the same time, if your Gyro's not having a great start in lane, you don't really want to be leaving him and let them alone against these 3 in top lane. We're going to see Funnick going deep here onto Lim. Lim has got a Scream available, and there's a TP in from Sealkid. Funnick could actually be in trouble, has got the Surge, will pop it. He's not got enough for the second Scream there, still on cooldown, so Lim won't be able to chase that one down. But Funnick will get away with his life intact. And we can see in the middle lane with this Invis rune and the rotation from Seneko. Just seeing if he could find any kind of action here. Has got the mana for the torrent, and Jonas Fan is very low. If he can land this torrent here, the courier is also coming out as well. So we'll see if...
How long on his Invis though? Oh, it's going to wear off. Okay.
Yeah.
He'll have to sit up high ground if he wants to try to go for a snipe. But Jonas is walking to his tier 2. This is a very nice play. Do not want your courier getting sniped.
He plays it safe and is able to retrieve his bottle without any interruptions. And the side of NIP, in fact, see Abaddon had to head back to base, obviously after TPing top to help limp out when Funnick went aggressive. It's given Havost a little bit more space here, but still on this bottom lane, Error just slightly coming out on top.
Yeah, this lane is kind of okay for NIP because they got the first blood. But I don't think Havost is going to be giving away any more kills like that. And you have to assume that middle and top are both going Navi's way. Not in a huge margin for top, but middle lane is getting smashed. Like Dendi is... Oh, bottom
lane indeed. The torrent into the rocket barrage, but the tombstone gets dropped down. Hanskin's going to be able to turn around and get the decays out because they're all grouped up on the side of Na'Vi. And Na'Vi, they get the skills in, but it's not enough really to kill anyone on this tri-lane as it seems. And I mean, they're going in on the Undying every time, which maybe not the best bet.
No, I mean, when you're grouped up, like Havost has to be in close proximity for rocket barrage to deal damage. And then the Kunkka has to kind of be close if he wants to auto attack, right? But if you get 2 or 3 man decayed, you've basically gained all the health back that they've dealt damage to you from. And wow, Sadako, he gets the rune. Is he going to get away, though? I mean, this is a no-disabled dual melee chase. Maybe the least exciting chase ever.
Yeah, it looks like Seneko will just be able to get himself around the corner. That will be now distribution on Terra. They realize Terra's on his own, and this could be a killer with a Soul Catcher Rocket Barrage, and it will. This time, the combo from Na'Vi is able to bring down the core hero from the side of NIP. The hand's getting Sealkid, maybe seeing if they can find something in return. Seneko actually ended up killing himself to a neutral creep. He didn't have any money on him, okay, so just wanted the quick route back to base by the looks of it.
Yep, definitely understandable. You do not want to be spending any more time than you have to walking back and forth when you're a support Kunkka. Like, you want to try to get 6 and 7, because having the first rank in a ghost ship, it's 400 damage. So keep in mind, Queen of Painulti is 290 damage at level 1. Now, the boat still hits harder than Queen ulti, and top lane, Queen is getting very low here.
Yeah, Funnick's got an old haste rune here, so he's contemplating going for it, but no, he doesn't want to dive past the tier 2 quite yet. And Limp will be spared for the time being. Abstract thrown down onto Jonas Fan. He pops down the cogs. Denny trying to get the hits in with the poison. Won't be able to quite maneuver himself right around the cogs. Bottom lane, there's going to be a torrent onto Hanskin again, but he drops the tombstone. He's out of mana, so won't be able to get out of decay. Can they kill him? Yes, they can. This time, the side of Na'Vi just able to bring down that Undying.
Era trying to do the damage that he can before the tombstone actually drops, but not really able to get a return kill. And the more that these heroes are dying in this tri-lane, the less incentive NIP are going to have to stay down here. I mean, they're losing their solo lanes, and eventually there's going to come a point where this Clockwork and the Queen, they're going to have to be relied upon to rotate. Like, they can't just sit in their lanes forever, especially once you start seeing the Queen of Painulti come out in the hook shot on the Clockwork. And, I mean, Jonas is...
Havost.
Rip.
Havost. I'll say it 4 times for good measure there, but...
Well, yeah, 4.
That's getting
how it works.
caught out there. It is.
Yeah, it is 4. But he had no business being there in the first place. He even had a lane ward. He was just up there without any supports in his lane. And it can't even be a miscommunication, because, like, everybody says that they're going back to base, even in a pub game, right? So he was just a little bit greedy. Got clipped by the lightning into a stun, just kind of fell over. So nice little kill there for Nip.
And arguably the start of this game going a lot nicer for NIP than it did in the first series. First game of the series. 3 for 2 at the moment still. We haven't really looked too much at the other two lanes, but the farm going very well for the side of Na'Vi. Viper in the mid lane, 37 and 25 denies. He's really racking up the CS here, Dendi in the mid lane. And actually, if we look at the... there's a big level difference then off the back of that between himself and Jonas and Fan on the clock. What are we seeing on Dendi? Dendi at the moment, level 7, clock on level 5. So the denies really paying off and slowing down that hook shot on Jonas and Fan, which is pretty big, because that's something that NIP are relying on.
He's level 5 roaming right now. Like, he has max flare. He has level 1 battery assault. Why is he here?
Now, that was not a successful gank.
I am honestly speechless.
He just walked down and offered himself up. Take me!
He has level 1 battery assault. So even in the scenario that he found a hero, level 1 battery does nothing. But I don't know. I'm just like baffled. I honestly, I don't know what to say. That was very awkward movement. The only ward they had was placed around the same spot, but that one is a newer one that they placed by the small pole camp. But it doesn't make any sense because the supports were nowhere in the vicinity. He had no hook shot. He was just like, please God, let me leave mid. I don't want to be here anymore.
He was just so frustrated with the mid lane. He was like, I don't care where I am. I just don't want to be in this mid lane against this Viper because, I mean, you can't blame him. Viper, one of those heroes that can make you tear your hair out.
Yeah, he makes you rage, for sure. No question about that. I'm just kind of wondering, like, what Nip's game plan is other than try to fight around your Clockwork and your Queen. Like, fortunately, Limp is farming pretty well. Like, he's highest on his team in terms of CS. He is level 7, and he's got his treads up, so he can TP gank to any lane. I mean, that rotation is very powerful. You have the burst damage of the Scream followed by the Sonic Wave, and you could very easily kill the safe laner if you wanted to.
Oh, bottom lane, NIP thinking about going on to Vorst. Vorst is on his own at the moment. Still getting an error. Checking it out, but Vorst will keep himself back behind the Terran. Vorst has now got level 6, so he's got the cooldown. Tombstone's going to get dropped. They're trying to find him in the trees, but it hasn't revealed him. Vorst hiding away in the tree line. And looks like he'll be able to keep himself safe for the time being as Kunkka and Darkseer working on the top lane for the side of Nip.
Yeah, well, him showing now makes Nip want to dive even more. After seeing that hero on the map, he has a TP up, but I don't think Sonico wants to go down here.
In comes Funnick. There's going to be a TP from Shadow Demon as well. They're going to go straight to Handscan with the Rocket Barrage. Undying, he's getting healed up by the Abaddon, but it's not going to be enough. The call down is going to be massive. On to 2, on to 3.
God.
NIP getting absolutely obliterated in the bottom lane as Na'Vi turn up in full force, and that's a big fight there for Na'Vi.
Things not looking so hot right now for Nip. The laning phase is kind of broken down here, and the first engagement ends up in their solo laner, who is doing the best on their team, dying. The Clockwork, I don't even know what Jonas was doing, but he hasn't been involved in any kills yet, and it's around 10 minutes in. It's kind of rough. I think he's going to die here.
Working their way around the Cogsy.
Oh, maybe not. Okay.
He'll be able to get himself out.
There was no Viper Strike, so that's why he didn't die. Then he didn't have his ulti up. Well, the real problem for Nip right now is that their supports are going to become a liability very quickly because they cannot roam. So their only game plan is, we need to fight, or I need to sit my Abaddon behind someone.
Getting fairly low. Dendi didn't fancy going aggressive on that one. There was, of course, Edison fan around on the sidelines. Has now got level 6, so he has got that hook shot, but it is 10 minutes in, and the early game hasn't been great, to say the least, for Jonas and Fan.
Well, up against the Viper, it's not really expected that Clockwork would do well. But if he had just gotten 6 and then tried to gank, I would have said he did as good as he could have in his lane, right? Like, all you do is you get 6, you gank, you have a successful gank, your lane is recovered. Like, that's what Clockwork does. If you can't win your matchup, you win by making things happen in other lanes. That's pretty much what Nip's team relies on, because their 2 cores are great roamers, or at the very least, good team fighters. The first time they actually leave their lanes, they die. So now it's like, well, Na'Vi just have all the momentum in the world and can continue to just free farm up and look to do whatever it is that they want.
Now Jonas fan, he's going to go around for round 2 into the Radiant jungle. Art Style is about, and he's going to hook shot straight past the Shadow Demon onto Horvorst. The Tombstone drops as well. Horvorst looking in a bit of trouble. There's a defensive destruction buying him some time. That will allow Horvorst to get the cooldown down, but Horvorst has already gone down, and now Hansken looking for more, trying to chase down Art Style here, giving him the punches, the decays. Going to be able to go for this one too much longer because Dendi has turned up to back up Artstyle. The slowest down with Hansken. Limb blinking forward with the Sonic Wave, blows up the Shadow Demon, and now Dendi, he's surrounded by 4. Looks like he might be in trouble as well. He's fairly tanky, keeping himself alive, will bring down Limp with him, does pay with his life. NIP coming out on top, 3 for 1 after that exchange, and well, that was a very nice initiation from Jonas and Van on the clock.
I think that was miscommunicated from Na'Vi. Like, they had 2 TPs available. Funnick just TP'd mid. Like, he's like, whatever, I'm not going to come to this team fight. And Dendi just kind of goes in, gets a return kill on the Queen, which is still okay, because he ends up trading 1 for 1.
Oh, bottom lane, there's going to be a disruption and a soul catch onto Seal Kid. Trying to see if they can get the abandoned Photic Shield, keeping Hansken topped up and alive. Looks like he will be able to get himself away. They want to go back in here onto Artstyle. Artstyle throwing the Shadow Poison out. It's not going to be enough. He loses his life yet again. Hansken will simply TP away. There'll be a cooldown onto Leshrac. Horvorst and Snako are still here. But Leshrac, he's just walks out of it.
Yeah, I mean, he was right on the edge, so all I had to do is back up a bit. And Air, all of a sudden, seemingly one of the highest on net worth. He's right below the Viper.
Jonas and Fan's got himself a haste rune here. The hook shot is back and available. It doesn't look like he's going to want to look too deep for anyone, and the side of RV huddle up by their tier 2 are going to be fine for the time being.
It's very unfortunate for Jonas that he wasn't able to find anything with that haste, and Nip are doing the right thing. They're trying to cause havoc. Like, they're just roaming around, they're looking for kills, they're trying to get some aggressive warding down, or at least they should, to make sure that Jonas and Limp can actually make some stuff happen. But if they continue to do that, it's anyone's game. The problem is if Na'Vi get to be left alone for a little bit longer, because I'm pretty sure Funnick is going for the pipe, and then the Viper is also going for mech. So once they have both of those items, the Queen and the Lesh damage is going to be stunted pretty heavily. And then you're going to be looking at team fights most likely going in favor of Na'Vi. But they still need a bit of time for that to actually come to fruition. So Nip, they need to be very aware that they cannot let it go on too much longer without making something happen.
Yeah, I think, as you were saying, they're pretty much bang on the fact that you look at the net worth and you see that Error is the top for the side of NIP. He's not really far behind the 2 top cores of Na'Vi at all. But the fact that he is a Leshrac, and you're doing against the side which is touching upon the mech, touching upon the pipe, and I've also got the run buff from Kunkka, it's going to be hard for Error to get as much damage as maybe they anticipated they would do when they first picked up the Lesh in the draft out in these fights.
Yeah, for sure, especially considering Sonico just hit 6. Like, this is the first fight we're actually going to see with a boat. And the boat buff is insane. Plus, it's basically Sonic Wave in terms of damage. So if Sonico's on his A game, lands a good torrent, lands a good boat, that fight is just done.
Funnick nabs himself the bounty rune here. The courier making a little bit of a detour there. Does get sent back. He will be fine. There'll be a disruption here. And Soul Catcher onto Hansken with the X marks in the boat and the torrent all coming through. Oh, the vacuum pulling both the Undying and the Abandoned into it. That's 2 heroes down here on the side of NIP. Jonas and Fan pops down the coast, but now he's got to run away. They're fighting up against it. They have the completed pipe onto Funnick. It's doing a lot. Cool down there, finishing off the clockwork. 3 heroes falling on the side of NIP. No one going down on the side of Na'Vi, and we saw it there. The boat into the vacuum into the boat. Sorry. The pipe was there to follow up for the side of Na'Vi in terms of defensive, and the NIP, they couldn't find anyone.
Well, not only did the boat hit on the 2 heroes because of the vacuum, but it actually covered everyone on Na'Vi. So when the Queen blinked in, he ulted heroes that had Coco Rum on them. They took no damage. Like, they were sitting inside of Cogs. Jonas had a really good counter initiation with a hook shot, caught 2, and neither of them took more than like 20% of their health from a full Queen combo. Like, that's the power that a pipe and a Coco Rum buff give you at this stage in the game. So now, Nip are realizing, if we don't get a good jump, our teamfight potential is fairly limited.
Yeah, the side of Na'Vi are going to be very, very hard to fight into at this point. And off the back of that fight, Artstar maybe looking for more. Smoked up towards the mid lane. NIP themselves, what are they doing? They're looking for a smoke themselves. Trying to see if they can find some positive action across the map here. They're going to opt for. What's the plan here with this movement from NIP? Jonas and Fan leading the way, has got a hookshot available. In comes a TP from Limp on the Queen of Pain to the mid lane. They've got the full 5-man wraparound here against the side of Na'Vi. Who can they catch out? Artstyle and Seneko Hanging around the tier 1, still looking for that hook shot. Does he want to go for the easy pick off onto SD? I say easy. Dendi's there backing him up as well. There's a few heroes here on the side of Na'Vi ready to retaliate. The flare comes out. There's your hook shot. They're going to go for Snako. There'll be a defensive disruption, and Dendi starts to work on Jonas Van. Jonas Van will try and TP out the boat, flying through with the stuff in the vacuum, cancelling the TP. Jonas Van getting low. The pipe and the mech have been popped. Na'Vi, they're still pretty much at full health. Jonas Van will fall here. They might get Snako in trade. They do. Dendi as well. The damage now from Era is coming through. They're taking down 2 heroes in return, and now they might look to take more. Havorst, he's going to be able to speed himself out. Funnick might not be as lucky here. They find another kill here. Era finding a double kill, picks off Artstyle on the Shadow Demon. And, well, I mean, NIP, they commit. They get through the damage blocking of the pipe. The mech, it doesn't end up being a huge issue. They've taken 3 heroes. They've only lost 1. Funnick, he's punching Era here. He will surge himself away, but oh, there's going to be a cooldown. Havorst gets wiped away straight away. The cooldown might save him from the grave in terms of finding a kill in return, and Funnick does bring down the Abaddon, but pays with his life. Now Snako turning up, tried to look for the hit on Terra, but with no points in Tidebringer, he really doesn't right-click that hard at all. Era just goes straight back in. Era's got no feet, does go down
what was
there.
that path thing?
I
think the creep actually ruined his pathing and made him walk around.
I think it might have there.
Yeah, that was not the path you wanted to take. Okay, they know he's there. He is a goner.
He's popping out to the sword. Maybe not. The boat flies through. It's not going to be on course today, and Hans can actually escape him from that one, but I guess at the end of the fight, Na'Vi, they pick off Era on the left rack. They did, of course, get Jonas and Fan at the start, but they lost a lot there, Na'Vi.
It wasn't so bad for Na'Vi just because they didn't end up losing their tower. Like, it would have been worse if the tier 1 ends up dropping, but that goes to show that they do actually need the boat to deal damage, because that boat was used purely in a defensive manner. The Clockwork caught the Kunkka right away, forced a defensive disruption, and Sanako had no choice but to throw out a boat to keep himself alive, because he was stuck in the cogs with the entirety of NIP able to pretty much beat on him. So now we know that if NIP get the jump, they are capable of taking a team fight. It's just whoever gets the better initiation is going to come out on top.
See, Dendi just returned to farming the mid lane, and Havorst just farming up the creep camps here with the cooldown. Trying to keep himself climbing up that board, but at the moment, Havorst, he's not at the top. 5k on your gyrocopter, but on the side of NIP, you see 7,000 on air at the moment, 6.3k coming up on Limp on his Queen of Pain. It's definitely the closest game we've seen over the last 2 days here.
Yeah, for sure. Like, both teams actually have a very good chance of coming out on top in this game. Just depends on the aggression, and right now, NIP looking for a team fight here. Another smoke up.
Yeah, they're ready for round 2. Everything bar the Sonic Wave is available. Hookshot initiation will be there, going straight through. Actually onto Limp. It misses anyone on the side of Na'Vi, and Na'Vi might be ready to fight back into this. The boat flies through, will catch out Limp, blows him up straight away. Silkid here with a borrowed time. Nice vacuum onto 3, and now this time with the pipe, Na'Vi, they continue to fight, continue to push. They'll find Hansken, they'll find Arrow as well. They'll also bring down the Abaddon. 4 heroes being taken down on the side of NIP, and as you were saying, Andy, when they hit that boat, suddenly the fight swings very much in their favor.
Well, they killed the Queen before she was even able to use her ulti. Yeah. So without having the level 2 Sonic Wave and the Scream damage, they didn't really have a good way of bursting anybody down. And at that point, NIP had already said, okay, we need to run, like straight up. And that wasn't even a call down vacuum. It was just a normal vacuum on 3. And they still managed to clean up basically everyone. Jonas Hook actually threaded the needle.
It did, went straight through to his own team, yeah.
Yeah, that was not the initiation they were looking for. And it just goes to show like the difference in contrast of seeing like, okay, well, I hit the Kunkka first. The Kunkka's forced to use his boat in a bad way. We win that fight. But when the boat is used and hits his whole team and gets a kill, then suddenly the fight is much, much harder.
After that fight, if we actually have a look at the graph between the two sides, what are we seeing in terms of differences? Okay, it's always been in favor of the side of Na'Vi, but now leading up to 5,000 in gold.
Is this their third smoke in a row from NIP? I think this is their last smoke. Yeah, they just smoked like, they smoke, they fight, they smoke, they fight, and they smoke and they fight. And that is all their smokes used.
I mean, as you said, they didn't get to use the Sonic Wave in the last fight, so maybe this time they can use that to take the team fight advantageously. Mid lane at the moment, it is only Funnick on his own. He'll surge himself and start to run back. Maybe not, he's keeping himself in, throws down an Iron Shell. And the NIP, looks like they'll turn their attention towards the bottom lane, seeing if they can find anyone here. Oh, they're just gonna go on the illusion.
Some illusions.
Well, the illusion's dead.
Yeah, they definitely showed that illusion who's boss. No questions.
But that was their third smoke and not used to much success.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. The ward's even going to be scouting out Limp, and the rest of NiP seemingly making their way towards bottom lane. It's interesting to me, though, because no one really has that great of item progression. Normally, when you see so much fighting, usually somebody stands out as being like, I have all the farm, you know, like Havost, he doesn't even have his BKB.
I mean, Funnick's doing pretty well. He's got a Crimson Guard and a Pipe.
Yeah, okay, he is the one with the most farm for sure, but it's not like a drastic difference, because what happens a lot of times in these games where there's so much fighting is one person lives through the engagements, like every time, and it's usually the tankier heroes, so like Viper or Darkseer. And then at the end of them, they just have a ton of farm. And that ends up being how a team snowballs. But
Jonas and Fan has an Invis rune here, might be able to set something up for the side. Throws down the cogs. Limp comes in a 3-man Sonic Wave, but there's going to be a cooldown and a boat fly through the middle of the side of NRP, catching a little vacuum as well. Jonas and Fan goes down. Na'Vi, they've only lost the Shadow Demon, and with the Pipe of the Crimson Guard, Na'Vi, they're pretty hard to bring down. Seal Kid will have the borrowed time, buying him some time. Very aptly named skill. The Torrent will fly through, won't catch anyone. It doesn't matter. Seal Kid does manage to get the Mystic Coil deny there. But nonetheless, Na'Vi just losing the Shadow Demon, forcing 3 heroes off the side of NIP, and we'll be able to find this tier 1 on the bottom lane.
I thought that he would actually just try to push all the heroes forward. Like, he could have cogged in a way that pushed the Viper and Artstyle forward at the same time. Yeah, towards the tower, right? Yeah. And that way, even if one is disrupted, the other one pretty much dies for free. But Artstyle was able to defensively disrupt himself. The cog actually helped Dendi, because no one else from NiP could get inside and really deal any damage to him. And then he got boat buffed, and then the Pipe, and the Crimson Guard, and the mech, and it's just... They have every like defensive utility that you can ask for in a 22-minute game on their team. And Dendi even has a Glimmer Cape on top of his mech. So if for whatever reason they were trying to all-in him, it would be very, very difficult to even kill him in the first place. I don't know, I'm thinking NiP... They're still in it, because I think Na'Vi will actually have kind of a hard time going high ground.
Okay.
And Havost, he still doesn't have BKB. Like, it's 23 minutes in. This is a pretty underfarmed Gyro, actually, considering the circumstances.
Yeah, and obviously the BKB going to be very big against the side of NRP with cores such as the Leshrac and the Queen of Pain. As you were saying, Viper with the Glimmer Cape, that's arguably kind of, not necessarily the poor man's BKB, but it's another really easy way to deal with the Leshrac's damage output. Yeah,
not only that, but you can use it to save your teammates too. Yeah. It's not just a get out of jail free card for the person who carries it. It's more like, if for whatever reason my Shadow Demon gets stunned, I can just Glimmer him, and then the Leshrac cannot kill him. That's the thing, is like Leshrac carry is almost all magical damage. So if you have a Glimmer Cape on your team, it deletes him from dealing damage for the 5-second period that it's actually on the hero, or 4 seconds, but it's 5. So yeah, it's a very good item against these non-physical damage dealer carries.
So Dendi just trying to go in onto Handskin, but Handskin simply TPing out of that one towards the top lane. They found the Clockwork. Whereas the Clockwork found them. Does Jonas and Fan want to go for it here? He's got a hook shot. He's going to try for it. Straight in onto Seneko. Funnick is there with the wall. The Sonic Wave catches to the vacuum, bring the side of NRP back towards Na'Vi. Seneko caught in between it all. Will get the boat out here. Now the backup from Havorst. He gets a cooldown onto 4 heroes. Jonas and Fan looks to TP out. Will not get away. Havorst just being able to bring down the Clockwork. And now they'll turn to Era. Era tries to turn around with a stun, but it's not going to catch anyone. He goes down. Abaddon will be able to TP himself out of there. So even though NIP find the initiation there with a hook shot, it doesn't turn out too great. Losing Jonas and Fan and Era, and just finding the support Kunkka.
Glimmer boys, man. Do you see how long it took him to kill Sonico? Like, they committed to him with, what, 3 or 4 heroes? And they took so long to kill him that 2 people from Na'Vi had time to TP react and go for counter gank. Like, that's the problem with Leshrac as a carry right now, is if you just have a Glimmer Cape, and you're trying to all-in a hero, it's going to take too long, and you're not going to be able to kill him in the time that it's necessary, and then the enemy team has time to react. Now, that's not going to happen in like every single case, but that was a very strong showing of why Leshrac carry has some pretty glaring weaknesses against these types of heroes. And I got to say, I really like the fact that Na'Vi has decided to run the Kunkka support in the first place. I think it's being showcased how powerful it can be when you have a team that's just built around being able to take these engagements.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, he's found level 10. He's got a Staff of Wizardry, Arcane Boots, and a Glimmer Cape. It's not going too bad here for the old Kunkka. There's going to be a smoke up from Na'Vi as they rotate towards the mid lane. Won't be able to find anyone, but maybe they can bait here with Seneko on the Kunkka. Is the side of NIP going to fall for this one? They do have the hook shot on the clock, so they may very well look to go in. Well, Na'Vi, they're going to reveal the smoke here as a force. Comes out with the Rocket Barrage. Dendi and Funnick. Funnick comes out as well. Yeah, they're not going to find any kills here, but they very well might find this tier 2 as NIP not really in any kind of position to defend against this push.
I don't think they want to fight in the first place, to be honest. The last couple of engagements have not gone well for them. The unfortunate part, though, is they're not going to be able to make a trade. Like, normally, if a team is pushing you, you want to try to, you know, get a tier 1, maybe push into a tier 2, pressure somehow. But no lanes were really in a good spot for Nip to do that. So they kind of just take that one, and they're not going to get anything for it. And now Na'Vi potentially looking at getting Roshan here. I'm just looking around right now. There are TPs available on pretty much every one of Nip. So if they realize this is going on, they can easily contest. And I got to say, they need to know that something is up, because this team does not kill Roshan very fast, and they even have a ward in the jungle, and no one has showed for a very long time. There we go. Yeah. Now there's a flare.
There we go indeed, but NIP, they're pretty much spread out across all corners of the globe at the moment.
Yeah, they're just not even contesting. They gave up. They're like, nope, we can't stop it. Too late.
We're going to see a TP straight back from Seneko here to this top lane. Maybe seeing if
the
you can
Glimmer
contest it. They're going to go straight in onto the fight here, and they found Yonasan Fan. Yonasan Fan will get caught by the cooldown, does manage to defensively hookshot himself back, but is it enough? They're chasing this one down. He looks to TP out. The disruption will be there to cancel the TP. Yonasan Fan keeps himself alive for a little bit. It's not going to be enough. He goes down here to Havors, and so they get Roshan. They get themselves a kill, and they get themselves a tombstone there. Tasty 150 gold.
Very nicely done there by Sonico. He TPs to the tier 2, uses Glimmer to walk forward, gets a free X out, and just ensures that they're going to get something extra. And Nip don't even kill the tower. Like, come on. That is so painful. They actively said, we're not going to contest Roche. Let's try to get a tower instead. Lose a hero, a core, and they still don't get the tower. Like, that is just... that's pain. That is just absolute pain for the side of Nip. But, again, Era's still farmed. Like, it's not as if he's not getting anything out of the time that they're buying. And there is a fresh BKB now purchased on this Queen. It is important to note that Navi's physical damage output is not great. Like, right now, Havos, he doesn't have any real damage items. He just has Dominator and Drums and Phase. Like, each of those items give you a bit of damage, but he's not a right-click beast.
Disruption onto Era. Denny moving himself forward with the Viper Strike. Throws it down. Era just BKBs and TPs the hell out of there. Does not want to hang around, and we'll be able to escape. Divorced with the wraparound. I'll be able to catch anyone out as NRP have backed straight up to their tier 1s here. The side of Dendi, side of Na'Vi, very much looking for a push here and trying to claim the final tier 2 from the side of NIP 28 minutes.
I think they'll have no real problem doing that, to be honest. Again, they have fresh BKB on Dendi. He's got his Glimmer still. Havost also has a fresh 10-second BKB and Aegis. Contesting at tier 2 seems a bit silly, as Nip will just go ahead and let that one drop. Now, high ground is a completely different matter, because Clockwork is very good at defending high ground, and so is the rest of Nip. It's very easy to place a tombstone in some obscure location that's very hard to hit, and then you can initiate with a hook and try to defend that way.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Here we go, the pipe's being popped by Na'Vi as they head to the high ground, making it a little bit harder for NIP to jump in with the defense. The fortification will come out from the Dire. Force and Denny standing their ground, hitting away at this tier 3. Yonasan Fan looking for an initiation from the sidelines with a hook shot. There he goes, straight up to Dendy, but Dendy gets 4-star forwards, and out of the cogs will put the BKB and starts to get the damage out to hands. Get 5 strikes as well. The vacuum onto the Undying. They blow up the Undying. Call down. The slow will connect on Seal Kid. Seal Kid has the borrowed time proccing. BKB's been popped by Havorst. He's still standing there. Now the demonic purge onto Seal Kid, slowing him down. Havorst moving him close and personal with the rocket barrage. Will find the kill onto Abaddon, and now Yonasan Fan gets the cogs. There's going to be defensive disruption keeping Jara, but Jara here. The Aegis will be popped. They found 3 kills here against the side of Na'Vi. Era getting out a lot of damage, and maybe they find Vorst here as well. With the stun, the scream from Limp, they turn and fight. Vorst trying to do his best with the lifesteal. Not going to be enough here. His 4 heroes now dead on the side of Na'Vi. So Naiko is left to run away on the Kunkun. We have a look at that fight recap. We see the trade there of 4 for 2 there. But NIP bought back on someone, didn't they?
No one bought back. Na'Vi just overcommitted way too hard. Like, they spent a ton of time attacking an Abaddon. Like, they purged the Abaddon. They were dumping all of their abilities into the Abaddon when he had his ulti active. Like, they spent, what, 5 or 6 seconds trying to attack that hero instead of dealing damage to somebody who actually matters? Like, honestly, what does killing Seal Kid really do? It's an Abaddon. He's going to randomly throw out a shield, and he's going to run around. Like, he's not a threat. So the Queen, living through the team fight, obviously got quite a bit from that engagement. He did have his fresh BKB as well. So that's what I was mentioning is, right now, Havos doesn't really hit that hard. It's mainly just his magical damage that's the threat. He doesn't have MKB. He doesn't have Butterfly. He's not that beastly endgame tanky gyro that we so often see nowadays. It's just they don't have anything that deals damage through BKB. And there were two heroes there who had very high duration BKBs on the side of NiP, and both of them being allowed to live through the entire engagement, you're just going to lose that fight.
Yeah, and things looking very healthy for the side of NIP after that one. If you look at the co-op, she's got a lot of money on her now. You know, Queen of Pain Limb, 3.6k gold coming up on top of the BKB now. I mean, what does she opt for here? Does she need to pick up something like the Cypher Vice to offer them a little bit of control? Or is there something else that could be more preferential for them?
I think Aghanims is still okay to go back for if you want.
Yeah.
Because Aghanims puts your cooldown, the ulti, to 40 seconds, which is huge. Also increases the damage. And also it's a pure damage ulti. So your pipe and, you know, your mechanism, sure, the mech still helps, but even BKB doesn't matter against Queen ulti. And it just allows you to maybe burst that hero down a little bit harder. And it helps supplement Leshrack's damage because he doesn't have any way of piercing BKB either. So between Dendi and Havost, the cores can't really kill each other in this game. It's really awkward. So whoever like waits out the BKB timer better and has a better posturing for when the BKBs were off is usually going to come out ahead. And that's why Na'Vi had such a hard time pushing the high ground, because they had used everything to kill a Clockwork and an Abaddon, possibly the two least impactful heroes on the team. Or no, they killed the Undying first, but I think he actually had time to respawn by the time the fight was over, because it was pretty long, right? I don't know. It's an interesting game, and it will be Aghanims coming out from the Queen of Pain.
Yeah, indeed, and 25 to 19, 32 minutes in, things certainly balancing out between the two sides here. Error on his Leshrack, 3.3k gold. I mean, what's on the menu for Lesh this game?
He needs armor, I think. He only has 8 armor right now. Maybe he goes Shiva's. Maybe he goes for Aghanims himself. Aghanims Leshrack is actually very good, but we will find out here in a second. He could go Hex as well. There's a lot of really good options for him. I don't know if Hex is amazing in this game, though. Like, Shiva seems to be very strong as the BKBs kind of dwindle down, you know, getting to that 5-second point, and Leshrack getting tankier and tankier just by having the additional armor and using the BKB to kind of stand through the Viper Strike and the call down and all the big AoEs that come out. Because that's all you need it for in this game. You just need to make sure you don't get, like, Torrent, Boat, call down, then you're fine. So maybe he'll go back for some kind of tanky item.
Especially with the fact that a big damage item is indeed going to be coming up fairly shortly for Vorst. He's got Demon Edge, he's got 2k on top of that. I guess we expect to see the MKB coming out from Vorst as his next item of choice.
Yeah, he definitely needs the right-click damage. We saw the last fight. The members of NiP really just weren't dying. Like, they lost 2 or 3. Era, he's going to get purged here.
Oh, Soneko does manage to get himself in range there for the X marks. With the cooldown as well, can they do anything?
He BKB.
No. The BKB dodge is real.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, because he might have gone down there. There was...
oh, he 100% would have died if he didn't BKB. Yeah. Like, there's no question. And the thing is, now that the BKB is down, it's now much harder for him to engage. So maybe Na'Vi look to try to go back for... No, Roshan's not going to be up for a while. I guess they're just going to be happy with the BKB usage, because it's still a fairly long charge I think he dropped there. Yeah, it was an 8-second BKB. So, baited, as they say.
Na'Vi rotating towards Roshan. Roshan still not quite up yet. And I mean, do you think Na'Vi really, they do need to wait for the Aegis before they try and push high ground again here?
There's no reason not to.
Yeah.
When you have map control, there's no reason to rush going high ground, because even though the rubber banding isn't as severe, it was still a huge turn when NiP defended. Like, they gained, what, 7,500 experience?
It was a big one.
And like 4,500 gold or something like that.
Yeah, so looking at the graph now, we can see it went from, yeah, about 13,000 to about 7,500. So yeah, it was a lot in gold, and in terms of XP, pretty much bang on, as you said, 7,000 almost.
Yeah, so whenever that happens, it makes a team kind of contemplate, do we really need to try to force high ground right now? Whose late game is better? I would say Na'Vi's is probably better by a small margin, but not huge. Again, you can outplay that. The biggest problem that NiP are going to run into is Coco Rum becomes more and more devastating the longer the game goes, because it's the same philosophy behind having a 10-second BKB in the late game. The longer that you live, your damage scaling is going to be very extreme on heroes like Gyro. Even Viper will get a little bit more right-click, and then you also have like Darkseer Wall and such. So the Gyro scaling damage makes the Coco Rum more effective in the late game. So I think that depending on how Na'Vi take the fights, they should be a little bit advantaged in that scenario. But again, that's not to say that NiP can't win. It's just going to be more difficult for them. And that you can tell by the way they're playing this too. The only person farming on their team is Hanskin, and that's an Undying farming. The rest of their team is just sitting in the base. So Na'Vi don't need to go high ground now. They just say, okay, you want to sit in your base? That's fine. We will farm everything.
Oh, still checking out Roshan. How long until Roshan's up, actually? Is it Okay, so a couple of minutes. So it is the longer respawn here for the side of Na'Vi. So I guess we can just expect to see a little bit more passive play coming out from both sides. So Vorce now with the completed MKB, ready for the next fight. And I mean, with that and the Aegis, it's going to certainly step up the difficulty for NIP in terms of defense. And they've had enough of sitting around. NIP want to go out and they want to find something. 5-man smoke here from the base as they lead out. And
ooh, Aghanim's on the darks here.
okay, so talk me through it, Andy. I believe it's 100% damage from illusions, is it now?
No, it's more.
It's more.
It's 140.
140.
Yeah.
That's they're going to be punching.
They hit very hard. Yes,
Yeah.
very, very hard. And it's a 45-second wall, of course. Even was beforehand for the changes. But smoke here from NIP. This is their only smoke at the moment, and they're definitely looking for Roche. It's not going to be up yet, though.
Yeah, it's going to be a big fight.
And Havos is standing on a DD, so
It's
the thing is, NIP don't have any vision, so it's hard to engage into the Roche pit when you cannot see a damn thing. And they're going to spot out Arrow with that ward as well. I think he just walked on the edge of it. Oh no, he didn't. He didn't. Never mind. Okay, they don't know he's there, but they're waiting on the DD. This is very smart from Na'Vi.
This is going to be so hard for NIP to fight into, and it is a question of whether they decide to. As the ward has been dropped by them, they do see art style float there as well. Of course, Ram, Jonas and fans scouting out the action from Na'Vi. Double damage will be claimed from Gyro, and he's just going to head towards the bottom lane, and Avor's going to look to just continue to find something at the moment because he knows that NIP are not essentially wasting their time, but that they're not being proactive at the moment around the map, and if Na'Vi can, that's them essentially winning this bit of passive engagement.
Yeah, pretty much. Just force the wave back and make NIP show themselves, as, again, Limp just showed that he's clearing bottom wave, so even that small bit of information makes Na'Vi a lot more comfortable in positioning themselves around the pit. Now, they have placed a fresh observer here, so they're going to have vision of a good bit of Na'Vi, and could open up a hook shot here for Jonas.
Ooh, let's see, are the plays going to be coming out?
Oh, Veil used.
Strand to Vorce, Tombstone on the high ground, the defensive disruption, dodging the Sonic Wave there for Gyrocopter, and there comes your boat onto 3, the cooldown as well. Sealkid has the borrowed timing prop. Funnick going straight in onto Jonas and Fan. Now he's going to turn his attention back towards the pit as the Queen of Pain Limp will be able to blink away. Dendy pops the BKB trying to fight up against Dara, but Na'Vi they're actually trying to get themselves out of this engagement. They might lose Dendy here. Dendy's going to look for the TP, but the hook shot will be there to cancel it. He gets brought down at the end of that massive clash. Only Dendy dying there on both sides.
I'm actually amazed only one person ended up dropping there. The unfortunate part about NIP's lineup is they're not very good at killing Roshan.
Oh, it's a hook shot straight onto Funnick. He's found Funnick. The disruption will be there to stop the clockwork from getting down the coast. Vacuum onto 4 to death. The follow-up, yes, because the Monster's turned up. The cogs melting as well. The cogs holding the side of NIP in place, but it doesn't seem to matter. NIP is still coming out on top. The fight's Saneko. So even though the cogs almost certainly looking to set something up for Na'Vi, Na'Vi are just all dying. Funnick, he surges himself away. The hook shot will somehow miss from Jonas and Van, but Funnick, he's stuck in the tree lines.
Oh, high ground vacuum. 2 seconds.
The vacuum.
Can he live?
The vacuum with Funnick. The vacuum. Oh, he goes for the low ground.
He put him on the wrong side. And Havos pings the cliff. He's like, why didn't you put him on the cliff? Oh, well.
Hindsight is a wonderful thing, Andy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a team wipe going the way of NIP. And honestly, I think a lot of the reason why that went so far south is the cogs from Jonas in the Roshan pit totally isolated Havos from everyone else. So even though Artstyle was on point with his defensive disruption to make sure that Havos could at least BKB,
Yes. Yeah.
the majority of the damage dealt right now from Na'Vi is from the gyro. So his flat cannon was hitting, I think, 2 or 3 heroes, but he wasn't really able to sit in the fight. And the person that he dumped all of his abilities into didn't die because it's Queen, so she's just able to blink away and reinitiate later. And because of the fact that you get your mech baited out, you get your pipe baited out, and then Leshrac can just come back in being extremely tanky and just slowly melt the team. Na'Vi's lineup doesn't deal a ton of damage unless Havos is in the middle of the fight. Like, that's the biggest issue that they had there. So,
I mean,
Aegis now.
Na'Vi just giving away so much there. Yeah, massive team wipe. NIP, I don't know if the graph will have kicked in yet. If we have a look at the overall graph there, it's certainly starting to, and it's heading towards that 0 point. And while XP's already crossed that mark, and I wouldn't be surprised if the gold does as well, because a big swing can be expected off the back of that play from NIP, especially getting Roshan, and of course the Aegis now into Error as well. 15 Bloodstone charges on the Lash.
I would even say that for now, NIP are the ones who should have control. Like that. With Era being as farmed as he is, he can... I'm really surprised he went for Veil, but it did end up working very well in that engagement, like the 25% increased magic damage and just the sheer cast range and AoE. You can have it applied before the fight starts, especially when you're setting up for something like Roche. And I also think it allowed him to have buyback as well. So for the cost investment and being able to just buy back into the fight if you need to, it was a very intelligent decision on his part. And for the time being, both teams kind of just pushing out waves for now. There is one smoke coming out from Nip here. They're going to look for potentially Dendi here middle, but it's a hard kill.
Yeah, both Dendi and Funnick retreating from the mid lane. Dendi actually
just following
this camp. Yeah, they're looking for Dendi. And
oh, he broke the smoke.
They know where he is. The hookshot will be into the Viper. They've got a Sonic Wave. Everything going down onto Dendi. Dendi just pulls the BKB, the vacuum there onto Limp and Jonas and Fan trying to turn around for the time being. There is your wall here, of course, with the Agnim's upgrade. Hansken and Limp getting caught in it. Limp will simply blink away. And now it's NIP that are on the run this fight. They don't want to stick around. Hansken gets caught up by the homing missile. Gyrocopter, with the help of Darkseer, will bring him down, and a buyback straight away from Undying. Undying want to get back in. There's going to be Jonas and Fan hookshotting onto Dendi and Seneko. Seneko trying to get out for what he can. Glimmer Cape is there, providing him some sustainability, but they've lost Art Style. And now it's the side of Na'Vi trying to escape. Seneko keeping out with the tree line, will be able to get himself out, but only just. And it ends up being a 1-for-2. NIP buying back on that and dying that fight.
The Abaddon did deny himself, though, again. I'm not really sure how, because he was getting attacked by like 2 or 3 heroes, but Seal Kid apparently is a god at using Mistcoil to kill himself. And I mean, that was an okay engagement. They did commit a smoke for that, and they really only killed Art Style, but they also kind of got away very lucky because most of the heroes dodged the call down. The only person I think who got hit by it was the Undying, pretty much. And Hansken bought back. I'm not really sure why he bought back, but he did. And maybe they just want to pressure lanes out.
Era's now got an Aghanims on this. I mean,
yep.
Era had a bit of a rocky start, but now the momentum of this Leshrac is really being felt in these fights, and he's pretty damn scary and now pretty damn tanky.
He's made it past that awkward mid-game phase where 10-second BKBs become a real big problem for you, because 10 seconds is plenty of time to win a team fight. But 5 seconds is obviously much, much shorter, and right now I'm pretty sure Dendi's BKB is still 7. So that one's quite a bit... okay, so they're both 7 seconds on both Havost and Dendi, but there will be a time soon where his damage output is going to be insane. Like, you're not going to be able to kill Era before he kills your team. Right now, Pulse Nova does 220 damage a second, and that's not including the fact that he has Veil.
I mean, not just Era as well. Limp looking very impressive at this point of the game. 19,000 net worth, 3.5k on top of his Aghanims. So the Crest is going to be the item of choice here for Snako.
Yeah, I think you just put it on Dendi or Havost in a team fight. It's free evasion. They want to try to go here.
Gyro.
Make a BKB.
He's going to be fine. He walks himself away from this stun here. But the push from NIP certainly looks to be real as Hansken, Limp, and Era starts going onto the tower here. And the tower, of course, with Leshrac being there, it's going to melt fairly quickly. Torrent comes out. He's going to be juked out by the blue pony. And that will be the tier 2 going down here on the bottom lane for Na'Vi. And Na'Vi now at a point where they've got to be a lot more careful about fighting outside of their base, because NIP, they definitely have what it takes to take these team fights successfully.
Yeah, their late game is still very good. You cannot underestimate it. On paper, Na'Vi, if Havost had like the ideal amount of farm, it would still probably be slightly favored for them. And even in terms of net worth, like the Viper, the Darkseer, and the Gyro are still very farmed. It's just that the Queen and the Leshrac are actually the 2 highest net worth in general. So game's still very, very close. I think Havost really needs like a butterfly, something just to allow him to tank up a little bit more. Having the Solar Crest will actually help a ton for him, because he'll be able to sit in front line and just auto attack here. Dendi.
Indeed, Era and Hansken, they found him. They're going to go straight for it. There will be a TP as well coming on the side of NIP as Limp joins the fun. Dendi with his Glimmer Cape and the mech. BKB as well, trying to keep himself alive. It's not going to be enough. Dendi goes down. There'll be a boat flying through, catches Era. He yawls from Limp, keeping himself out of that one.
I don't know why he waited so long to BKB. Like, if he had just BKB'd and then Glimmered, it would have bought more time. Like, that's the ideal way to keep yourself at a higher amount of health. Because if you're getting chased and you're running towards your base, the best thing to do is to keep yourself as high health as you can for as long as you can. And he only used Glimmer. Now, the Glimmer does a little bit against Leshrac, but Diabolic Edict is physical damage. And he's still getting hit by Pulse Nova and random lightning storms, and he also got stunned.
And Aghanim's Pulse Nova as well.
Yeah, it's Aghanim's Pulse Nova, and there's also a Veil, so I'm not really sure why he decided to BKB after the Veil, or after the...
Oh, the hook shot is
stun?
going to be Style there.
Nicely done.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Well, they'll look for the mid tower now, and let's see if Na'Vi are able to do anything to stop this one. There'll be a homing missile coming out onto Era. Era just zips himself away, and will allow the space for NIP to take down that missile before it connects. Tier 2 getting low. Tombstone is going to be dropped here on the high ground, making it very hard for Na'Vi to come in with the defensive maneuver. And Undying, as we see, he's got the recipe, he's got the Ogre Club towards his own BKB, so in a couple of fights times, he'll have that. There'll be the X-Marks onto Era, but Era just pops the BKB and he runs straight at them. The hook shot onto Arstyle. Arstyle gets deleted from the game, and they will find the tier 2 as well. NIP suddenly in a position where Na'Vi, they must be pretty damn scared of the side.
Well, they've kind of put themselves into this position in the first place. Like the first fight where they went high ground bottom seems like a very long time ago, but that fight for me was the point where they totally lost control of the game, because that was an Aegis high ground. They commit to an Abaddon of all heroes. Like, why Abaddon? Can you just like attack anybody else who actually matters, or just hit the racks? Like if they had even killed a ranged racks or the melee racks, like the game would have been much different, and they didn't have to lose their entire team to go on that hero either. So it was definitely a misplay by Na'Vi. And Nip looking for some kind of opening here.
Yeah, Butterfly now picked up on Viper Era.
Oh,
the Soul Booster going for the Ultra Recon. Oh.
Rip.
That's a dead Kunk. Denzi has got the Glimmer Cape here. Era thinking about chasing this one down. But yeah, the Lesh Octarine Core coming out next on top of the Bloodstone and Academics, and he's going to be fairly tanky to say the least.
Fairly tanky. You know, he's got 18 armor right now. Not too bad. Now, the Veil does give armor. Kind of forget about that sometimes, but it does take a Helm of Iron Will.
He's all alone here. He will TP out. The Clockwork doesn't find him there. It's the wrong way. Very, very close.
Yeah. But once Era gets the Octarine, you're going to have, like, what? A 3-second lightning cooldown? And you're also going to be healing for a ton as well, which is the bigger thing to worry about. Is you're going to be getting that 25% spell vamp. So you're going to be walking around hitting everyone on the team with Veil, and you're just going to be Pulse Nova-ing, and just... Honestly, I don't know if they're going to be able to kill him. He's going to need to be Soul Catchered. Like 100% of the time.
Oh yeah, you're going to need that damage amp, because he's going to be working with so much. He's going to be getting that lifesteal as well, of course. It's... I mean, Era's just transitioned so well this game. You know, at the start, he really wasn't a threat. The side of Na'Vi were being able to kill him in each fight straight away, but now he's proving that the core Leshrat really can be incredibly scary if you're able to get yourself to this point.
Yeah, the Octarine is going to be the icing on the cake here for him. It'll increase his tankiness like tenfold.
Limp now with the Hex onto Arstyle, the Glimmer Cape behind him. Some survival, they're obviously doing nothing against the pure damage on the side wave. Oh, the vacuum, the wall! NIP getting dragged right into the middle of it all. Hansken goes down here. Can Na'Vi finish this one off? Limpos the BKB trying to get himself out. Arrow is the BKB. Is it going to keep him alive? He'll go down. He is only down for 15 seconds though because of all those Bloodstone charges. Double kill for first. Jonas Van comes back in. Will bring down a Vorst. It's a 2-for-3 trade so far. Jonas Van getting loads of right clicks of Dendi will bring him down here. Limp trying to find Funny. Funny gets forced back by the cogs, but Limp will blink himself out of this one. Ends up being 4-for-2 there, favoring the side of Na'Vi, and maybe it's not over. Limp stands there, takes a disruption and Soul Catcher to the face, and Era has returned. There's going to be the vacuum as they go for the wall. Limp, the damage being done. Limp gets blown up, and now it's Era. Era's got to be careful about walking past this wall. Will back himself out, but the 140% damage.
Dear God. He got wrecked.
Wow. He got hucked. Wow.
He actually just got demolished by the wall on the Soul Catcher. Okay, I was not even I wasn't expecting him to die like that.
Yeah.
Like he went through the wall, he's like, yeah, okay, I maybe get it. Oh, I'm dead. Like he just died in 2 rounds of auto attacks to the illusions. That was actually hilarious. So really big swing for Na'Vi, clearly. They come out ahead pretty far on that one. They did lose Havos, but I think they'll be more than happy with the exchange. The big thing now is, can Na'Vi get in position to either get or defend the next Roshan? Because that's going to be the next point of contention, because this is cheese as well.
Yeah, this is the Roche fight. The rest of the game are almost going to depend on. I mean, we're at this point 50 minutes in, 34 for 31. If we have a look at the graph, I don't know if that fight's totally ticked in, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's gone straight back to 0, and indeed it has. Net worth with hitting the 0 mark. I'm sure when that XP kicks in, we'll be back to 0. So this is very much an even game between these two sides, and I don't know which way it's going to go, Andy.
I don't either. I honestly think it's all up to this Roshan fight, though, because both teams have to commit like everything to this. So this is going to be the fight, I think, that decides a whole heck of a lot. I mean, it's 50 minutes in. Usually Roshan at 50 minutes is like game winning or game losing, depending on which side of the coin you happen to fall on. But Era still monstrously farmed at this point. Has the Octarine finished, has 2,200 gold. Nip, they're going to smoke. They have vision of Na'Vi, at least a few of them. And the question is, can Funnick land the 3-man vacuum into a boat combo twice in a row? Because they might need that to win this fight.
Both teams with all the ultimates ready. Limp leading the way. He's going to find the Shadow Demon, pops down the Yule Scepter. Force with the homing missile heading the way towards Limp. Limp drops the Scythe onto Artstyle. There's going to be an X mark onto... Oh, there's not going to be enough because Limp wants the beacon now. Jumps straight in with Jonas and found with the hook shot. Piper's been popped by the side of Na'Vi. They're walking through the wall though at the side of NIP. They need to be careful. Artstyle gets the Soul Catcher onto Hansken. Error in the middle of it all. Look at the damage he's doing and they just can't kill him. The BKB keeping him up. They've already found 2 heroes on the side of Na'Vi. They might be able to find more. They're 5-3. They're 5-4. 4 heroes down. Funnick the only one left alive. The dagger will fly forward. Error finds the slow as well with the lightning bolt. Can Funnick get himself out of this? He gets caught out by the stun. The cogs, they blink forward here on Limp. They're going to be able to find Funnick as well. It's a full team wipe. Triple kill for Error. NIP only losing the Undying. And Leshrac, what a beast, Jaskal.
Like I said, they don't land the combo, it becomes almost impossible to actually kill the Lesh in the first place. Like, he casually just walked into 4 heroes.
And just stood there in the middle of them.
Lived the entire time and just killed. Like, that's all he needed to do. And on top of that, they're going to be able to get Roshan with cheese. I think he might drop his Veil for this. Or maybe he just keeps it and says, you know what, somebody else can take it. Maybe Limp gets his hands on the Aegis and they just hold cheese to give it to somebody else. But really fantastic fight coming out from Nip. The boat whiffed completely from Na'Vi. The vacuum wasn't there. The wall was lackluster. Like, nothing really seemed to click for that fight for Na'Vi. And unfortunately for them, making a mistake like that at this stage in the game is much more impactful than it was maybe a little bit earlier on when you're not really losing your racks potentially for something like that. Now, they will have buybacks for the next engagement, and going high ground is still not easy. But man, that fight for Nip was phenomenal. Like, you couldn't have asked for a better engagement.
This game it's restoring my faith, Andy. We've had, what, 5 games so far, the last 2 games that have...
There were stomps.
That have been stomps. This one is pretty much... It's found a perfect equilibrium between these 2 sides. Both sides with their drafts as well, coming together in these fights. Very, very even, but at the moment, arguably, you've got to... It just feels like the momentum's more so there for NIP at this point.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And Arrow's even opted to get rid of his Veil entirely to go for armor, which means that his effective HP is going to be even higher than it was before. He'll do a little bit less damage, but that's okay, because he's going to have 15 armor from the Shivas. So now we're looking at potentially a 30 armor Leshrac with 3,000 HP, a Magic Immunity and an Octarine Core to be able to heal himself through Spell Vamp. Like, this is the wet dream of any Leshrac player. Like, Pelma Leon's watching the stream going, God, I wish I got this level of farm in games, you know? Because you're just a god at that point.
Really are, and especially with the lineup that NIP have backing him up. I mean, you've got this Abaddon, obviously a great support to have in terms of keeping you alive with the Aphotic Shields. You've got Undying, who's going to be soul ripping you through these engagements, and it's just so hard to bring him down. NIP at this moment in time playing a little bit too well for Na'Vi, and Na'Vi are struggling to take these fights. Seneko just pushing out the mid lane, trying to get some aggression onto the tier 3. Tier 2 on the top lane will get taken down by Error here on the Leshrac, and NIP with the cheese, with the Aegis, they're ready to go to the high ground onto the tier 3. Here we go. Let's see what Na'Vi can do in response. They've got everything available. They've got the wall, they've got the boat. Just going to try bring a hit out, and it's defensively X-marking himself just to clear out the wave. Disruption onto Error. The homing missile will connect. No, it won't. It's
too
dead.
Fast.
Too fast, too furious. Error's out of there, and they're ready for the next round.
I mean, pushing into Darkseer wall with Aghanims is still pretty scary. Like, the Wombo combo potential of Na'Vi is big, and we saw the kind of impact it can have on a fight earlier when we saw the fight break out top lane. So I definitely understand Nip feeling a little bit hesitant to just charge up the high ground. But they do have the Shivas ready on the courier. So whenever Era drops the first time, it's just going to be, we're going to go in, we're going to sacrifice him once, he'll get Shivas. After that, pop BKB, try to take the fight or go Rax.
More cooldown's going to be dropped here by her Vorst. Look at the torrent as well, catching out Era. Era will just put the BKB straight away. He's now down to half health, and the right clicks from Dendy, of course, with that butterfly doing a fair bit. Era getting low. Will go down, vacuum onto 2 there, and now here comes the boat as well. Where's it going to go? It's not going to connect onto anyone. NRP just backing up, and here comes Era in for round 2 after the Aegis has been popped. Gets the stun onto Dendy. Limp moving forward with the help of Hansken. It's going to be the Yules holding Artstyle in position. Viper Strike will connect onto the Queen of Pain. Queen of Pain munches the cheese, blinks out, tag teams Jonas and Fan in, who hooks shot straight onto her Vorst. Her Vorst getting low, will go down. It's a 1-for-2 trade so far, and up here only losing the Undying. Her Vorst will buy back on the Gyrocopter here because they need him for this defense. Na'Vi need the Gyro to come up to the fight to turn this one around. Era will find the stun onto Funnick. Limp gets the dagger as well with the scythe, but that's a fast little piggy. Will piggy himself back to the base, back to the fountain. Era stands there with the shield, hitting away at this Terran. Well, how's this going to continue? Era moving in close and forcing Dendy and Seneko back. They just have to get themselves right away from this Leshrac.
He is the one-man siege engine.
He really is.
He's just sitting here. Almost everyone on the side of Na'Vi are alive. The thing is, they really do need Soul Catcher.
Oh, her Vorst! He's on the wrong side of the cogs. We'll get the cooldown out. The torrent catching 2. They're blown up 1. They're going to be able to blow up 2 here. Limp, he drinks himself out. Now Era and Silk, they're caught in the midst of it, but Era, with the damage he's dealing, Na'Vi might have to think about running away from this one. Dendy, he's been picked up and he's been stunned up. He'll put the BKB in the Glimmer Cape, turns around towards Limp, but Limp blinks himself out. Limp is going to die. Era staying alive here with the Aphotic Shield provided by the Abaddon, and they just have to run away from the Lesh Rack. They're just not killing the Lesh. The racks continue to fall low, but this time they do force NIP back, and the defense is slightly successful.
I don't know, man. They're still sticking around. Like, they haven't backed yet, but Steel Kid's, like, got nothing in the tank. Like, he's out of mana, no health. I think Nip will finally decide to end this push, and to be honest, keeping your racks alive through that, I gotta say, I didn't expect Na'Vi to be able to do that. Like, they had to commit a buyback on Havos, of course, but still, they walk away with their racks intact. The Aegis and the Cheese were both consumed by Nip during that engagement. I'd say for Na'Vi, that's a win. Like, even buying back on a core hero, and you only had to buy back on 1 person, that's pretty good. And considering how tanky Era was, like, he was just standing there for so long, just frontline, like, yep, you can't kill me, you can't kill me, yeah, whatever, you can't kill me.
Oh boy, I mean, it's getting to the where Era, there's not really much more that he can do with his money. He's got 3.1k, he's just upgraded the boots of travel for the 2nd time, so
yeah, I don't think
he's capped out.
He can't buy another item, unless he wants to buy Hex instead of Aghanims, but that actually decreases his tankiness, and I don't think that's what he wants right now.
I mean, 33 armor, 3,000 HP, and of course the lifesteal from Octarine Core. This is, I mean, he's so hard to bring down.
Yeah, it's definitely not great, but in terms of, like, can they actually go high ground without an Aegis now is my question. Because that fight was so hard for Nip. Like, even with the advantage that they have in terms of net worth and gold, they still had a terrible time actually going high ground, and they only got the tower out of that engagement with Aegis and Cheese. So my question is, can they actually break base if the wall is available, if Call Down and Flat Cannon are both there? Maybe Havos picks up, like, another item, because that's the thing. The Leshrac cannot possibly get any more farmed unless he buys, like, a Necro Book or something, or a Refresher, and then he puts it on a Courier and then uses it to refresh his BKB and then push, which I guess he could do at this stage. But Havos' damage is going to get higher. He's going to become more tanky once he gets Satanic. He still has room for improvement. The Viper also still can finish up Daedalus. He can get rid of his Glimmer or his Mech and buy some more, like, late-game oriented items. There's still time, and the Courier, I don't even understand why like, why? Why does everyone hate Couriers? That's...
Havos, that was... Ooh.
That was a Satanic!
That was a Satanic, oh my goodness.
Havos' Courier control's got to be like 1 out of 10.
1 out of 10?
I'm giving him 1.
1?
All right, 4 out of 10.
Okay, there we go.
I'm bad at haggling.
Come on, get the meme right, man. We've got to stay dank here. Era, they're ready to push, and Havos, 4.1k down in terms of net worth. And of course, he bought that Satanic with the money that he could have had for buyback. He doesn't have buyback gold now.
Yeah, this is... I think if they saw what was on the Courier when they killed it, they probably just push. Like, that would be the basic dream for them.
Disruption onto Era here. The blink for a limit, the hook shot straight onto Voss. Voss just get himself out of the cogs, and now the vacuum onto the boat. It's not quite enough there to bring down NIP. Zaneko getting low, pops the Glimmer Cape, trying to get himself out. Yours holding him in place. Voss will retreat. No one's died so far. Zaneko, Ardstar both getting low. They both pop. It's a double kill for Era. Now Funnick trying to do what he can against Limp. Limp's able to blink away, and Era just turning his attention towards Dandy, looking for the stun. Funnick's pot the BKB, will back himself off. Two heroes falling on the side of Na'Vi. NIP standing their ground, will be able to clear out the top racks here, and that is a push successful there for NIP.
Just imagine if Havost had a Satanic for that team fight.
It could have been a little bit different, Andy.
He would have been able to tank through both of the Queen ultis. Now, fortunately, the second one that landed, they had boat buff for, so they didn't lose all their heroes immediately. Otherwise, I think Limp would have just cleaned up all of Na'Vi straight up. But I think with only 3 heroes and Nip looking to be in pretty good fighting shape, it could potentially just be GG.
Yeah, I mean, NIP heading up to the high ground, looking to go for round 2 in the mid lane. As the damage flies through onto the tier 3. There's going to be a cooldown from Havost, but he goes in and he goes out. Doesn't want to stick around for the time being. That's going to be the tier 3 down. Stun onto Havost. He's in a lot of trouble. Limp comes in. He's going to go down. He's down for 115 seconds.
That's
no buyback available on your gyrocopter. It's not looking great for Na'Vi. They will lose the mid racks here, and it feels like they're on the verge of losing the game.
No gyro, you can't fight. Like, there's no way. Like, how do you kill anyone? The only person on your team who does damage at this point besides Dendi is your gyro, and he's gone. So, yeah, they're definitely just going to take one more fight, I think, and then call it.
Yeah, Era, 3-man stun.
Oh,
okay.
Jesus.
And with the Shiva's guard, chasing down Zaneko and Funnick. Funnick gets caught in cogs. He's got a nice vacuum on wall, but okay, NIP just walk it off. There's going to be a Viper Strike to Handscan. But Era's just standing there, slowly whistling away at these bottom final set of racks. Still 70 seconds before Havost is going to be back, and that's mega creeps now.
Yep.
That's mega creeps.
The only person who can push out is Havost, and he is dead. Well, I guess technically you can push out on Viper just very slowly, and Darkseer is pretty much the same. But I gotta say, I think Na'Vi actually lost this game more than Nip won it. That makes sense.
Okay.
I'm not trying to take too much away from Nip because they did actually play the last couple of engagements.
I think they played really well.
But they played really well after Na'Vi threw the game.
Yes, Na'Vi did have that. And would you still go back to that bottom lane push?
Oh, absolutely, the high ground push.
Yes.
That was like a 10,000 experience swing in the time that not only the fight itself happened, but the time between Na'Vi were able to actually do anything. Because at some point, when they were pushing high ground, they had a 10,000 experience advantage and like a 15,000 gold advantage. And an Aegis, and they lost the fight, like got wiped completely, only killed 2 heroes on Nip and a tier 3 tower, and didn't get racks. Like, that is, you can't do that.
Well, Havost is back, and he does have his Satanic.
He's got Satanic.
He's got the Satanic on it.
Unfortunately, his item progression has not quite been up to snuff. At 62 minutes, Satanic does not a typical hard carry make. And he even has a TP in his inventory. That's when you know you haven't had a good game as a core. When you're still carrying a TP at 62 minutes in and you have farm priority. Like, that is, I mean, look at Era. He's had the same items for what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? And he's got 10,000 gold almost. This is like Mushi status gold right now. He's just saving for a rainy day or hedge fund, one or the other.
It really is. It really is. 63 minutes in, things not looking too great for the side of Na'Vi. Looking a little bit bleak at the moment. As NIP, I mean, it really has been a massive turnaround. It's proving that comebacks are still very much achievable in this
That's
match.
true. The comeback is not dead.
And this was a massive comeback. It was a massive swing. I mean,
one of the bigger ones I think I've seen in this patch, actually.
Yeah. I think it went from about, if I've looked at it, 14,000 favoring the side of Na'Vi all the way down to about 20,000 for the side of NIP now. So a massive swing. And one that's going to be very, very hard, almost impossible for Na'Vi to recover from at this point. Mega creeps.
Yeah, Mega is like, unless somehow the gyro manages to farm Rapier gold, and even then, like, it's tough. You gotta like win a fight, force everyone on Nip to buy back, kill them again, and then you might be able to go down a lane.
I mean, maybe if they get the perfect wombo combo, you know, 5-man vacuum, 5-man torrent, 5-man wall, 5-man cooldown, 5-man boat,
5-man soul catcher,
5-man shadow poison stacking up. You know, it's...
Yeah, if you get 5 stacks of shadow poison, I could definitely see that happening. It hits for 1,040 damage at 5 stacks.
It's pretty good, even 64 minutes in.
Yep.
but it's a lot of ifs.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. That's my analysis at this point. It's hard for Na'Vi.
I mean, we're talking about the Divine on the Gyro. A Divine on the Kunkka would do work as well.
If
but
he managed to have an extra, what, 5,600 gold in his inventory.
It's a little bit more money than he has.
And honestly, he doesn't even have crit, so Divine is not that impressive on Kunkka without Daedalus.
So Na'Vi, they've just got to stall for a little bit. They've got a turtle it in a base that's pretty much non-existent at the moment.
They got some huts.
But they're going for it. They're not tapping out.
Hey, they got tier 4s and huts. That's all you need. That and dreams.
Error. He's fine. Limp just jumps straight in. Art Style will go down here. The refresh has been popped by Limp. He's looking for the second Sonic Wave. Na'Vi, they're being scattered. They do get down a very nice vacuum and call down onto 2. Error's still alive though. Seal Kitty has the borrowed time, providing him that second chance. It's a double kill for Limp as both Shadow Demon and Kunkka fall. Her Force will fall as well in the middle of this fight. 3 heroes down on the side of Na'Vi. GG is called by Art Style. The game is over and done with. And well, NIP, after 5 losses in a row, they do manage to take a game, so you gotta feel a bit happy for them because...
Hey, I called 1-1.
You did?
Yeah. No, I didn't think it was going to go 1-1 in quite this fashion. No? But I did think that NIP were going to be able to take at least one game.
It's good that NIP took it, yeah. I'm happy with that. I'm
happy for them.
I'm happy for them because, as we said, they weren't on a great run, but... And they did deserve that win. There was that mess up from the side of Na'Vi, but it kind of seemed to give the side of NIP a bit of hope, and they just went full on. They gave it 10 out of 10. They didn't. There was very little kind of mess ups after that point from the side of NIP, and it was just too much for Na'Vi to deal with, really.
Yeah, the Leshrac for me was the big story. Yeah. I mean, Jonas had some really nice plays in the late game. Like, he kept hookshotting in, force-staffing whoever he went on forward, and then cogging to isolate them from the rest of the team. They did that top when they were sieging the racks. Ended up working out really well for them. All in all, I think NIP actually played a very solid game after the first failed racks push from Na'Vi. And on top of a 6-slotted Leshrac, like hard 6-slotted. I guess he could have bought Moonshard. Did he buy Moonshard at the end of the game?
Did he?
I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
I don't think he did.
To be honest, it's still actually good because you're gaining 60 attack speed on a hero with a lot of plus int. He still hit for like 250 damage. Like, it's not bad if you're trying to siege, right? So still, one of the most farmless tracks I've ever seen. And awesome for NIP that they managed to tie the series.
Yeah, indeed. And well, that is it for Series 1. They're going to be back, of course, for the second series of the day. Up against basically Unknown.
Yep.
Arguably a matchup that you'd expect to be a little bit easier for NIP compared to Na'Vi. So they're going to feel very confident going into this one. Obviously, just taking a game away from Na'Vi. So we'll see if we maybe see more Error Leshrac. We know he does like the hero. Did draft it yesterday as well. So it might come back in the series later on. But of course, there's going to be a little bit of a break before that. Maybe not that much because that game was quite long. So actually,
we
not
are
much of a break
actually
at all.
15 minutes out from the next series.
So there we go. We are going to run some quick commercials, head you over to the host to give you a bit of a talk through of what we just saw there. But then myself and Draskell, we will be back for Series 2 between NIP once more and basically Unknown. We'll see you guys later.